a young man, member of our squads, who was absolutely outstanding. In fact, somebody from this table after his talk said, "Will you marry my daughter?" Who was that? Somebody. That's how absolute. We had a standing ovation. And that indeed is a hard act to follow. So bear with me, brothers. I'm trying everything I can. In fact, Joe, I was telling Joe that I'll do something else here. Get it?
There you go, there you go. Get in the spirit, Peter, huh?
All right, that's my wife's idea. Tonight I chose to speak of miracles for my presentation. When I first suggested this to Brother Mike, where's Mike? Our coordinator, he suggested it would be appropriate to discuss this topic of miracle at this month's Something Catholic presentation. A month of festive occasion when the Christian world will celebrate and welcome the birth of Jesus Christ. Miracle, as defined, is an event not ascribable to human power or the laws of nature and consequently attributed to a supernatural, especially divine power. The New Testament listed a number of miracles attributed to Jesus Christ, a topic that is so broad, and the time allotted for me is quite limited. So I will touch upon a few of them. Jesus, born of a virgin, might be of relevance, especially on account of the season we are in right now. Changing water into wine is regarded as the first miracle attributed to Jesus Christ. The more talk about miracle that we often hear at our Mass readings, regularly, including at the novena on Thursdays after the Mass. I'll touch on this later in my presentation. We have all been taught Jesus was born to Mary several thousand years ago in the town of Bethlehem, near Jerusalem, in the biblical land of Israel. Mary was a virgin when she became pregnant with Jesus. We all know that, and we have learned that through the years. The miracle of the virgin birth of Jesus is regarded in the Gospel of Matthew and Luke in the New Testament of the Bible. Although Jesus' birth is celebrated every year on December 25th, as we all know, Luke and the other Gospel writers offer no hint about the specific time of the year when he was born. On December 25, Christians all over the world will gather to celebrate Jesus' birth. Joyful carols, special liturgies, brightly wrapped gifts, festive foods. These are all characterized the feast today, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. In the Bible, Jesus is described as being the Messiah, or Christ, who was promised by the prophets of the Old Testament of the Bible. In the Hebrew Bible, he is the anointed king who will lead the Jews to the land of Israel and establish justice in the world. Jesus is fully God and allowed himself to be born fully human, something that we'll talk about in our class in Catechism, coordinated by, again, Michael Delaney. He lived among the people and to teach people about God's plan of salvation and to die for our sins. Because Jesus is also human, he is called the Son of God and the Son of Man. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord has said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which literally means God is with us. Now, changing water into wine, a very common miracle that is included in our homilies. John, the author of Gospel of John in the New Testament of the Bible, indicates that this was the first miracle of Jesus, or at least the first that was witnessed by his disciples. As explained in the Gospel of John, on the third day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." To which Jesus Christ said, "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." So nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind that is used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now, draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, although the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Listen, everyone brings out the choice wine first, and the cheaper wine after the guests have had 2 months to drink. But you have saved the best for last." What Jesus did in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which his glory and his disciples believed in him. Now, this reminds me of a story, and I'm glad Father Eric is not here tonight. One evening at a sobriety checkpoint in the city, just like Father Eric comes from the mission church on his way to the rectory, a priest was stopped and was politely asked by the police, "Good evening, dear Father. This is a sobriety checkpoint, and I hope you don't mind me asking if you drank any alcohol or have any alcohol on board." And the good father said, "Oh, just a sip during Mass, but I have a bottle of water in the back seat." The cop said, "Do you mind if I check it out, Father?" "Oh, absolutely, help yourself," said the father. And so the cop smelled this, and they said, "Father, this smells like wine, not water." And the priest said, "He did it again." Now, other miracles, don't tell that the father. The other miracles include healing of the royal official's son, catching a large number of fish, as we've heard, and feeding 5,000 people with 2 loaves of bread. And I was just talking to Peter tonight, and I said, the rain that poured in tonight is one of the miracles as a solution to our drought. Perhaps that's Jesus Christ doing. In addition, healing a man who was crippled for 38 years. And finally, Jesus walks on water. Brothers, this is my presentation. Thank you for listening.